It's after 11 Central African time. You are on the journal with me, Ernest Pillay. Now, as I promised just a little while ago, that we'll get into this story of concern. South Africa continuing to face a growing mental health challenge, particularly among young people. Yet, despite increasing awareness, many young men in particular still struggle to speak openly about anxiety, depression, loneliness, and the pressures of navigating identity, relationships, and expectations of masculinity. To this end, the University of Johannesburg is hoping to contribute to that conversation through the launch of the UJ Man Cave podcast, an initiative designed to give male students a platform to discuss the issues affecting their lives. Joining me on the line to unpack the thinking behind the initiative and the broader conversation around men's well-being or men's health on campus is Tato Titi Mba, UJ Man Cave podcast creator and executive producer. Joining me on the line, Titi Mba, good afternoon, or rather good morning to you, still morning here. Welcome to the Journal. Nice to have you.
Morning, my brother. Nice to see you again.
Yes, indeed. Oh, yeah, you can see me as well while I'm talking to you here online, Titi. It's good to have you on the show. Of course, we'll be joined. I think you have Lehumo Sipekwa, University of UJ student, representative council of the SRC president, as it were, also joining us, right?
Yes. Thank you for having me. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much to you both. Titi, let's start with you. I mean, we often hear that men need safe spaces to talk, but what really makes a space generally safe for young men, and how does one prevent it from becoming an echo chamber, as it were, where harmful ideas go unchallenged?
So thank you for the opportunity. We are, the Amatama Brotherhood Circle. We represent the wellness of men and boys, young men, old men, middle-aged men. And I think our mandate is very simple. We want to look after the wellness of men, be it physical wellness, mental wellness, or financial wellness. And so what we've done is we've created conversations on our social media platforms, but we've dug deeper into it and actually created WhatsApp groups. And that's where we get to engage with men. So in the WhatsApp groups, we've got 3 subgroups. The Amatama personal group, where we discuss only personal issues and matters. And then we've got the Amatama business group, where we talk business opportunities, unemployment-related challenges and solutions. And then we've got the Amatama sports and recreation group. So all 3 groups are serving a particular interest that serves the wellness of the man, be it his financial wellness, his physical wellness, or his mental wellness. And so we're also quite aware that a lot of organizations and brands focus on the girl child and women, and they leave the boy child behind, and they leave the man behind in the conversations. And so what we are advocating for is to say, please include us in the conversation so that we can build a society of good men, good boys, people who are responsible and intentional about themselves.
Oh, yes, indeed. And I have to commend you on that Amatama project, if I may call it that. I saw the video clips just this past weekend. I mean, Amatama were out there at Isofeng and celebrating Father's Day. So well done.
Thank you so much. Yes, we had about 300 men come through, and we were talking about things that affect us on a daily basis. We were unpacking issues around healthy masculinity. We spoke about legacy for men. Do we leave a legacy for our kids when we're gone? We spoke about the relationship between men and boys, fathers and sons, uncles and nephews. And also we spoke about the relationship between fathers and their daughters. Again, we also spoke about fatherlessness in South Africa. So we unpacked quite a lot of issues that affect us as a society.
All right. As I did say, we are joined on the line as well by Lehumo Sipekwa, University of Joburg student representative, the SRC president. Now, Lehumo, from a university point of view, I mean, I would imagine the challenges are the same, or I could be wrong. Why do you think, from a university perspective, there was a need to partner with Titi Mba to launch this UJ Man Cave podcast?
No, thank you so much, and thanks again for having me. So, as I think you've put it so nicely, I think universities on their own are also a microcosm of society. Whatever happens there also affects us internally. For example, part of the podcast that have been had so far, there was also unpacking what it means to be a father and a student. in most instances, it's about the mother that is in university, and there's never any lens that is pulled to focus on the boy child that is also a student and how they're navigating fatherhood while they're in university. So for us, it was just so synonymous, because even ourselves as maybe the SRC and also student affairs, we have a lot of initiatives that speak to the male student on our campuses, to basically assimilate them into being better people, as we always maybe slogan that we need better men, and also just to say that we are also partnering with them, in that we are always saying that the boy child is problematic, is having the highest suicide rate is coming from men. Perpetrators of GBV are coming from men. So it is us saying that, no, man, as much as there's these conversations, but we need to have more platforms like this where we unpack and just be there for each other as men, to understand that we are not going through this alone. There's other men that are going through it, and assist each other.
Oh, yes, indeed. And that's why you have Titi Mba, of course. I mean, just the right person, as I was just mentioning, the good work that's been done through the Amataima initiative. But still with you, Luhumo, I mean, young men today are navigating complex issues and expectations as well from social media, family, culture, and the economy. But how are these pressures, would you say, affecting their mental health, relationships, and sense of identity in general, but life lived at an institution of higher learning like UJ?
No, I mean, it does affect us. I also think I would also mention myself, speaking on behalf of the male students. Because, for example, you get fed into the pressures that by this age, maybe you're 21, already you're thinking that you should be owning a GTI, you should be having so much money, because you see other men that are your age and you start comparing yourself to them. And also you'd have other people that maybe are maybe the female counterparts, or maybe society, social media, saying that you're not working hard enough. So it becomes important wherein you get into partnerships like both Titimba, the UJ Men Cave, wherein you get to that, like how Titimba was saying, that in your 20s, it's your time for you to work. You mustn't be feeding into the pressures that are coming your way. And moreover to it is it's also on the matter that as men, ourselves, including social media, everything that we're exposed to these days, sort of like makes you feel much more inadequate about yourself, and start doubting your timing in life and what you should be achieving as a young male student, instead of thinking like, or competing with people that are in their 40s and 30s, that have had so much time to build their legacies.
And Titi, many people will look at you and say, you've got it all figured out, and you're navigating life. You've got a good balance, family, and so forth. What would you say? I mean, to the conversation where young men feel it's just me against the world, as it were. What would you say to them?
So, first of all, I don't have it all figured out. And that's why I created this UJ Man Cave podcast. So that's why we actually approached the University of Johannesburg to create this platform where these young men can also understand that people like us, who are obviously older and wiser than them, haven't figured it out ourselves. We are still navigating this journey called life. We also have our own struggles and challenges. The one thing that's quite distinct about this show is that we want to make sure that these young men don't make the same mistakes that we made when we were probably 20 or 21. And so, you ask from those that have traveled the road before you. And so this New Men Cave podcast is actually a bridge of generational vacuums that we've had amongst us as men. We grew up looking up to people like your Dr. Kumalos and Lucas Khatebes. Where are those heroes now? And so with this podcast, we also want to understand the psyche of a male student at school, in varsity and out of varsity, the kind of challenges that they're faced with in this day and age of modern technology and everything else that's around them. But also saying to them, it's okay to speak. We want to create a platform for you guys to be able to vent and articulate your issues directly to the world.
All right, so gentlemen, please stay on the line. We'll continue this all-important conversation. With me on the line, Titi Mba, UK, or rather UJ, Man Cave podcast creator and executive producer. And also we have Luhumo Sipikwa, University of UJ Student Representative Council, SRC President. We'll continue with our conversation after this break.
madapiri pazochitika madapiri pazochitika.
bungwe loona za mayendedwe a anthu mu chigawo chakumwera kwa africa la summit ladzudzula nkhanza zomwe magulu ena mu dziko la south africa akuchita kwa anthu obwera opanda mapepala omwe akukhala mu dzikolo. mungalankhulepo zotani pa zomwe zikuchitika ku south africa pomwe anthu obwera omwe akukhala opanda mapepala akuthamangitsidwa?
nkhani imeneyi ndi nkhani yomvetsa chisoni kwambiri chifukwa ikuchitika pamene anthu ambiri akudziwa bwino kunena kuti munthu aliyense kaya ochoka ku dziko lanji amakhala munthu waufulu kuti apeze chimene akufuna, chifukwa anthu amachoka m'mayiko osiyanasiyana chifukwa cha mavuto osiyanasiyana. Ndi zimene zikuchitika ku South Africa ndi zinthu zomvetsa chisoni.
Zochitika pa nthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo, lolemba mpaka lachisanu ndi madapiri.
Keep Africa in your hands. Connect to our website for all your news, sports, and cultural updates. channelafrica.co.za.
All right, 23 minutes past 11 Central African time. You are on the journal with me, Ernest Pillay, and we are in a rather important conversation, a challenge that we continue to face as a nation, growing mental health challenge among young people, particularly among young men. My guests on the line, Titi Mba, UJ Man Cave podcast creator and executive producer. I also have Luhumo Sipekwa, University of Johannesburg student representative, the SRC president. Luhumo, what would you say? I mean, it's one thing to have a conversation like this, a meaningful one at that, but conversation is one thing. How do we ensure that these conversations lead to meaningful change rather than becoming places where people simply share their struggles without accessing support or accountability going forward?
Okay, I didn't get the last part a bit because we were cutting a bit.
Yeah, I'm saying we are in a meaningful conversation, I would imagine, a conversation that needs to be had. But how do we ensure that beyond these conversations, that something actually leads to meaningful change rather than just us talking and, without these young people accessing support or accountability from a university point of view?
No, thank you so much. I think the most imperative one is us to have these conversations on a continuous basis. It's one thing to just initiate the conversation now and then disappear for a year and then come back next year to have the very same conversation. But if from what I am saying right now, you do not support me, for example, with the resources that I need in order for me to flourish, if you don't assist me with the information that I need, and also maybe also with the connections that I need, then the chances of me succeeding or these conversations that we're having materializing into reality becomes a really rare commodity. So by then, moreover from it, I think it's the matter of us having much more and more conversations, being there, and so forth.
And Titi, as the creator of this podcast, I mean, podcasts are plenty out there. People talk about all sorts of things, but it is what's being achieved with the podcast. I mean, if you were to take us through a day in the life of tuning in to the UJ podcast, as it were, Man Cave podcast, what does your programming look like, and your approach and the content?
So, you're quite correct in stating that we've got an influx of podcasts all over the show. But what's unique about ours is that it really zooms into the wellness of this young man, the future of our country. How is he wired? And I think beyond the podcast itself, we use a podcast as a springboard to have conversations beyond the podcast. So I mentioned earlier on that we've got these WhatsApp groups where we are actually engaging on a daily basis about issues that affect us every day. So whatever we discuss in the podcast, whether it be around culture, you can imagine what it's like for a young man who's starting his first year and has to go into a culture shock of understanding other people's cultures. Maybe he's from a particular cultural denomination or religious denomination, and he has to kind of gel with a new environment. How does he actually get to adjust and fit in based on how he was taught and raised? And so with this podcast, we're using it as a springboard again for them to be able to understand the importance of being able to be an open citizen and being able to live with people around you. And so it's a daily challenge that we obviously use with the WhatsApp group for us to discuss these challenges. I mean, a lot of guys will tell you about the issue of depression and anxiety, things that we hardly ever talk about. But through this WhatsApp group, we've been able to unpack what causes depression and anxiety amongst us. The fact that we don't speak up as men is already an issue. But a greater issue is the fact that when we do speak up amongst other men, it gets spread into other avenues that we don't want it. The confidentiality part gets compromised. So why aren't we creating a culture of trust amongst us as men so that we can be able to vent? Because a lot of them are committing suicide because there's nowhere to turn. And so we're saying whatever happens in the man cave stays in the man cave.
I like that. So the conversation has already been sparked, or at least it continues and lives on the WhatsApp group. You just now expanding it with the creation of the UJ Man Cave podcast, right?
Absolutely. We are using it as a bigger platform to kind of bring other men into the equation. By the way, we actually also meet every Monday online, every Monday evening between 8 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. for an hour and a half, religiously every Monday, because we want men to be able to tap into the space of what other men are thinking about, what are other men challenged with in their daily lives, that we can also reflect on our own lives. You know, you don't know how much you are going through until another man tells you what they're going through.
True. True that. I mean, there's a lot of stigmas and deconscientization that needs to happen with young men. I mean, Lehuma, you touched on it. Young men believe you need to drive a particular car and, material possession and so forth that we need to address. But there's also the issue of GBV. How do we teach young men to be responsible and respect women as well? I would imagine all of those will find resonance at the UJ Men Cave podcast. Lehuma?
Yes, most definitely. Like how Titimba and I have stated, it covers a lot of issues that are facing us as a man and how we relate with our counterparts and society as a whole. And moreover, having positive role models like Titimba and other people that have come to the platform, and also those that we live amongst within our institution. I mean, the professors that we have. For example, I would make a joke with one of the professors that I have, Prof. Ngulunga would say that a man that doesn't treat women nicely, I don't trust them. A woman that is not married and so forth, I don't trust them. So that sort of like molds you to say that, no man, for me to be successful like that person, it means I must treat women nicely, I must get married, I must have children and so forth, just be a normal human being. So those are most of the conversations that we're having, and also just breaking down that, I mean, you don't have to hit a woman to be seen as a man. You don't have to have take a woman on a 2000 date for you to be seen as if you are enough. Where you are, just be content with what you have and allow people like Titimba to lead you in order for you not to make the mistakes like how you said they made when they were 21 and so forth.
So really the platform is created to have robust, honest, judgment-free conversations for young men as well. Gentlemen, I thank you both. But before I let you go, TT, is the podcast on now, or how many episodes do you have per week, per month?
We are 7 days away from launching it. So we are launching it next week Tuesday on the 30th of June. Just follow the Amatimer page and the UJ Student Affairs page. If you want to come through, it's a free event. I want you to come and engage with us. We'll be releasing an episode every second Tuesday. So every second week, we'll be releasing an episode at 6 p.m. And we'll be dealing with different topics: culture, religion, finance, dating, fatherhood, mental wellness, pressure. There's a lot of issues that we are unpacking, and I encourage everyone to follow the UJ TV YouTube channel as well as the Amatama YouTube channel. Both YouTube channels are going to be simulcasting the episodes every 2 weeks.
Oh, thank you both, gentlemen. It's a wonderful, much-needed platform, this, and all of the very best. And reach out to us anytime you've got an update. We're more than welcome to have you back. All right.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and shout out to all the Channel Africa viewers and listeners.
All right. Thank you so much to you both. Lehuma Sipekwa, SRC President at UJ, and Tato Titimba, UJ Man Cave podcast creator and executive producer, talking to us on the line there about a serious issue of depression and all of the other challenges there. But this podcast seeks to address that and much more.